Hey, welcome again to another episode of Five Questions with the Paulist Fathers. I'm Mike Hayes, and I'm joined today. We're headed to the West Coast, and in Berkeley, California, at the Newman Center, there is Father Stephen Bell. Father Stephen, how are you?
Hey, hallelujah, and go Bears.
I'm
I'm doing fine, brother. How are you?
all right, great. Hey, let's get right into it. Question number
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Can you sing a few lines of something that gives you comfort from your isolation playlist?
Well, actually, I don't have an isolation playlist per se, but right now we are doing like a pre-mass carousel for our live streaming.
Ah,
And so part of the carousel is undergirded with songs, and I'm giving people a taste of a diversity of music, so that we can prepare them for a project that I'm doing, kind of like what we're doing at our parish in New York, kind of a virtual choir.
nice.
And so the song we're going to do, I'm going to have all the parishioners sing virtually and send that in. It's called "As You Go." Tell the world. It's a very, very simple song. So as you go, tell the world. As you go, tell the world. Tell the world about Jesus. Tell them about his love. Tell the world about Jesus. Tell them about his love. And on and on and on it goes. So that's kind of what I've been humming lately. I don't want to really put this as something for the pandemic. Well, maybe I should. As you go, leave us alone.
Please go, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, I know that you're pretty far away from family these days.
Hmm.
Question two, I know cooking is one of your things, and so what do you
Yes.
cook to remind you of home, and how have you stayed connected to your family on the other side?
So I've been cooking up a storm lately, and actually I've been doing a lot of recipes been hoping to do for a long time. So Coquille Saint Jacques, just did some red wine braised lamb shanks. I'm doing tonight some miso yaki butterfish. It's just a lot of things that I have wanted to do. And that reminds me of my family, because every time I come home, my family is like, okay, what do you have in store for us this time? So it's like they yield their kitchens to me.
Wow.
And it's an opportunity for me to kind of show off my wares. But
Yeah.
we stay connected, actually. Every Friday we do a family time happy hour.
Ah, that's
So
nice.
it's at about 6 or 7 o'clock their time, 3 or 4 o'clock my time. And we gather, we have a drink, and we talk.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
talk for about an hour and a half to talk and laugh and make fun of each other.
I just before we started this interview, you said that you're busier now
Hmm.
than you have been even before the pandemic. So, question three is, how do you decide on all the online ministry options that you guys are doing at Berkeley now?
Most of it is just around how we can create more community. How can we actually make available the fellowship that is naturally a part of our community life here? How can we make that more available online? And so doing things like our post-Mass fellowship, where we have people right after Mass to click onto a Zoom meeting and we all get together and just kind of talk. A lot of our ministries are Bible studies and faith formation gatherings are all online as well. This past weekend for Mother's Day, we did a Mother's Day mom-tage. So we asked all the moms to send in pictures of themselves with kids, or all people to send in pictures of their mothers. And then we had, as our last intercession for that Sunday, a, um, a montage of all the pictures, and that went over really well.
Nice.
So just a lot of things like that. Just how can we bring the community together, because connection is what people are really yearning for.
Ain't that the truth?
Hmm.
And so, when it comes to preaching now, question four is, do you always mention the pandemic in your preaching, or only sometimes? Do the scriptures take you somewhere else some days?
So sometimes, I mean, not the pandemic expressively, but there are a lot of issues around the pandemic that I believe require some mention. So this whole notion of suffering, really looking at that, particularly what the scriptures are bringing up this day as the disciples begin to formulate the early church. issues around addictions and the anxieties that are coming up in light of the pandemic or the stay-at-home or shelter-in-place procedures that have been put in place for most of us. Just really kind of looking at the effects of the pandemic without necessarily having to draw attention to the pandemic itself.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then finally, question 5, in light of all the fears that we might have with all that's going on, what's your biggest hope for all of humanity and for the church after all this calms down, at least?
My greatest fear is that the erosion of empathy will have a lot of fuel. And so in light of that, my hope is that with people needing to be separated from one another, we will begin to look on the inside and understand, first and foremost, how much we really need to be connected to one another in an intimate way through touching, but also just looking at how we are connected to one another and appreciating that a bit more. Recognizing that, if it was just one population or one constituency that was affected or afflicted by this virus, then that's one thing. But no, this has hit everyone everywhere, regardless. And so if we can really look at that as proof of our connectivity, then we hopefully will be more respectful of it.
Yeah, it seems to be the factor that everybody's talking about is, if nothing else, this has really kind of brought us all together and realized that we're all in the same boat. It affects everybody, no matter who you are, rich or poor, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, those are 5 questions with Paulist Father Stephen Bell. You are doing an amazing job. I hope that you know that.
Brother.
And
as are you.
Well, thank you. So please tell all the guys and all the parishioners and all your staff out there, just how proud we are of all the work that you guys are doing. And we will see you again soon.
I look forward to it.
All right. So this
has
been
God bless everyone.
You too. Thanks, Father Stephen. And this has been another episode of 5 Questions with the Paulist Fathers. I'm Mike Hayes, and we'll see you soon.